Thank you, ma'am, for letting me talk on this demand for grants. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Finance Minister. She was kind enough to waive off GST on tamarind. And because of this waiver of GST on tamarind, a lot of poor people, lakhs of tamarind workers in my constituency and in my state have benefited. And I am sure, ma'am, you'll have all their best wishes during this turbulent period you are handling this portfolio. Thank you very much. And coming into this demand for grants, I would like to put forth my state's perspective more than the national perspective. The central government has brought in an ordinance where corporates have been given incentives in income tax to the tune of 1,45,000 crores. This is a welcome move because it will provide a stimulus to this economy, especially during this downturn. And I think this is mitigated to an extent by the transfer of 1,76,000 crores from the RBI as a surplus. But the fact is that all this is going to go into the non-tax revenues, and this will not be a part of the devolution of taxes to the state. And our state is already crippling with finances. We are having huge stress on finances. So this will actually impact us to the extent of 2,000 crores. Before this ordinance was given, our share of taxes was close to 34,833 crores. And with this ordinance, it's going to be 32,778 crores. So I request the government to take a positive view because we are already stuck with bad finances. We are having huge revenue deficit. So I request the minister to take a positive view on this as a special case for our newly formed state. And the bifurcation has resulted in adverse implications for the finances of our state. We inherited 56% of the population, 60% of debt, and we also inherited only 46% of revenues. There's a huge mismatch, and there's a huge deficit in revenues for the state, and it would not be inappropriate to say that the bifurcation of the state took place with the two promises. One is special category status on this floor of the House, and the second one is that they will fulfill all the conditions in the AP Reorganization Act. But the fact is that special category status has not been addressed so far. It was promised on the floor of this House. It was promised in the manifesto of both the BJP and the Congress. It was promised not only in the House, it was promised in various meetings by the Honorable Prime Minister himself and all the other ministers who have canvassed in our state. So I think it's the need of the hour to support our state. We are in a huge deficit financially, and I think it's time for the government to keep up the promises made. And even the AP Reorganization Act, a lot of promises have been kept unfulfilled, and I think the government should act in time to keep up what all have been promised in the AP Reorganization Act. And to just give the magnitude of the financial losses what we are incurring. The government in 2000, after the partition, we inherited almost 97,123 crores. And in the past 5 years, the debt has risen to 2,58,000 crores. This is huge. And now the current government, the new government, we are facing a huge burden with this. Just the interest part is 20,000 crores. And the principal we need to pay 20,000 crores per year. It's like 40,000 crores every year. As of now, the government is purely surviving on debt. We have unviable finances. We are having huge revenue deficit. And I plead with the Honorable Finance Minister to take a positive view. And I also urge the government to help our state very positively. And the only way forward for us is granting special category status. YSR Congress Party demands special category status, and we request the government to keep up the word what they have given us. It is not a demand or whatever we are asking in AP Reorganization Act. It is not something new which we are asking. All this were promised, and we are requesting what has been promised to us. Ma'am, I would like to talk about a Polavaram project. It is a very important project. Andhra Pradesh is basically an agrarian state. More than 60% of the population thrive on agriculture. But in the past few years, the farmers have been hit with continuous drought and cyclones. The debt of the farmers was 87,000 crores in 2014, and currently it is at almost 1,30,000 crores. So you can understand the plight of the farmers. AP has the highest indebted farmers in the country, so it is time for the government to help us construct Polavaram project, which is part of the AP Reorganization Act. It is a national project which has to be constructed by the center. So the center needs to support with funds. There's almost 5,000 crores pending for the already work done in the Polavaram project. We are already living on borrowed finances, and the interest part on this 5,000 crores itself is almost close to 500 crores for our state, which is a huge burden for us. So I plead with the government to release this amount immediately, and also the project is in full progress. Very soon it is going to reach the 41.5 meter level for the spillway and the coffer dam, which means that there will be submergence, and huge amount needs to go into land acquisition and also for rehabilitation. So it is time now this amount be released for the state, and expert committee was constituted for this projects and all, and our new Chief Minister Midhun Reddy is in the process of cutting costs, saving money for the state. On the advice of expert committee, reverse tendering took place, and we have a huge saving of almost 800 crores. I think this is a direct saving to the central government. So please keep all this in mind. Please understand our positive attitude. Help build Polavaram fast, because we don't have such conditions for national highway projects happening in our state. National highway projects don't have, everything is on fast track. The bills are paid whenever the work is done in a few days' time. But here we have months delay. It's going to drain the exchequer with additional interest costs. And I would also like to bring to the notice of the Honorable Finance Minister that as part of the AP Reorganization Act, we were promised a package like Bundelkhand, where backward districts get benefit. In our state, 7 districts have been identified, and every year 350 crores had to be released in this regard. But for the past 2 years, this amount has been pending, and even with the current year, a total of 1,050 crores is pending for the state. I urge the government to release this amount soon. And I also urge the Finance Minister to relook into this backward area grant, the whole workings, because if you see the actual Bundelkhand package, it was taken on the number of districts. But in Andhra Pradesh, we have lesser districts with huge population and huge area. So there is a mismatch in this. So we urge the government to take a view, to rework on this and take it on per capita basis. Because I'll give an example what's happened in Bundelkhand and what's happening in AP. If you take the per capita grants which Bundelkhand is getting, it is almost 4,115 rupees per person. But the same thing in AP is just 428 rupees per person, which is a big mismatch, and it is nowhere close to the Bundelkhand package. We are getting only 10% of what we were supposed to get. So please consider this and please rework on this. And I would also like to bring to the notice of the Honorable Finance Minister that during the bifurcation of the state, the first year, that is 2014, 2015, it was promised that the revenue deficit will be bridged and the revenue deficit will be paid to the state. But so far, of the total revenue deficit of 22,948 crores, only 3,979 has been released. Initially there was a sort of a dispute between the central and state government regarding this figure, but the CAG has ratified this, that it is 22,948. So there is no dispute on this right now. So I request the Honorable Finance Minister to take a view on this and release the revenue deficit, whatever we have been expecting. And as I've already told, ours is basically an agrarian state. So if you take, we are majorly dependent on river Krishna, and though Godavari passes through our state, not much of water we are able to use from that. So as part of the interlinking of rivers, I urge the central government to take up interlinking of river Krishna and Godavari as a national project, because if you see, in River Krishna, because of climate change or whatever reasons, because of new projects being built, the water inflow into Andhra Pradesh, especially Srisailam Dam, has fallen from 1,230 TMC to 456 TMC. This is the average figures I'm giving. So it is almost one-third of what water we need to get. So the only way to improve the demographic dividend of the state is to interlink these two rivers. Kindly support us, because we are an agrarian state, and everybody, I think this will be the largest employment generator for the state, and especially it will help Rayalaseema region, which is suffering from continuous years and years of drought. Ma'am, as part of the Reorganization Act, we were promised that the central government will sponsor and fund a port in our state. But what has happened is Duggarajpatnam port was found to be unfeasible. Duggarajpatnam, so since it is unfeasible, we request money be given for Ramayapatnam port, which is a very crucial port, and it is part of the Visakhapatnam-Chennai industrial corridor. And we also request the central government to step forward, because our Honorable Chief Minister has announced that he will be going ahead with the Kadapa steel plant, which is part of the AP Reorganization Act. So please be kind enough to help our government. Please help us with the funds to set up this steel plant, or whoever is coming forward, kindly help us out to go ahead with our steel plant. And I also request the Honorable Finance Minister, I think one of the most successful programs helping the poor is Manrega. Please increase the allocations for Manrega during this tough period, because it is going to help a lot of poor people. And I also urge upon the Honorable Finance Minister not to cut down the allocations for PMGSY, because it is very important for rural connectivity. And also, I request the government to increase the housing allocation to the state, especially Andhra Pradesh, because we have a lot of people below poverty line. And I also urge upon the government to help Andhra Pradesh with all the initiatives our new government has taken. Ma'am, we are going ahead with the renovation of 44,000 government primary and secondary schools. This is going to help the poor in a big way. So kindly come forward and kindly provide us some grant for this development of schools, because with good education only the poor can come forward. The people will come above their whatever they are into trouble. And we are also going ahead with the renovation of all the government hospitals and public health centers. Please provide funds for this also. Ma'am, and I urge through you that all the railway projects, they've been pending for a long time and they're getting crippled with escalation costs. So I request the Honorable Finance Minister to take up this cause also. In the end, I would like to reiterate, please, please, please keep up your promise of special category status. We demand special category status again, madam. Thank you.